Okay. Well, welcome everybody to this special event. Usually an award session like this is held at a conference. So it's very special that we are here together with a lot of people, and so many people can attend from, as I understand, all over the country and all over the world. So very, very welcome. Before we go on, I have some technical remarks. This presentation will be held in English because it concerns an international oriented project, and we have guests from abroad. So this is why we do it in English and not in Dutch. Nobody in the world speaks Dutch, but the Dutch. We also would like to draw your attention that we record this session to be shared in the future, and people who cannot attend now can watch it later. So if there are any objections to that, please let us know. Next, please mute yourself. So any domestic noises from your home are not interfering with the presentations. If there are any questions, you can share them in the chat and to the host. And at the end, we will have opportunity to ask some questions about the project. Screenshots and other recordings are not allowed. And when sharing about this event, please use hashtag RAPDIF, hashtag ZonMw, or hashtag NWOWOTRO where applicable. So now we go to the whole presentation. I'd like to draw your attention. Today we are in the middle of the World Antibiotic Awareness Week that runs from 18 to 24 November each year. Resistant bacteria, fungi, parasites, or protozoa are threatening human, animal, and environmental health all over the world. And research is needed to address and control this slumbering pandemic. Today, we highlight the project Rapid Diagnostics Tests for Non-Malaria Fevers, short RAPDIF, which has been executed from 2014 to 2018. And this research has been funded by ZonMw with a co-fund from NWOWOTRO, Science for Global Development. My name is Linda van Galen, and I'm a senior program manager of Antibiotic Resistance Program of the Netherlands Organization for Health Research and Development, short ZonMw, and we fund research and development for a healthier world. I would especially like to welcome two people who will present later on their presentation. First of all, Veronique Timmerhuis, Director of ZonMw. Can you give a very short introduction of yourself, Veronique?
Well, very short, I think. I'm the General Director of ZonMw, the funding agency, since January 1st of this year, so it's not even that long. So a very special year. It was diving into COVID very rapidly. And I'm very happy to be here today, actually, to present our prize and to share the festivities around this fantastic project that we're going to talk about today. So I'm very happy to be here today.
Thank you, Veronique. Next, I would like to give to introduce you to Henk Schallig. Can you also give a very short presentation of yourself, because later on you will talk about the project, Henk?
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Henk Schallig. I'm a principal investigator at the Amsterdam University Medical Center, where I lead a research group mainly focused on research on experimental parasitology. And we do our work in collaboration with renowned institutes in the Netherlands, but also abroad and mainly in sub-Saharan Africa.
Thank you, Henk. Yes. And your project group also consists of Professor Halidou Tinto, Dr. Francois Kinde, and Massa Bonko, who is a PhD student from Burkina Faso. I'm sure they'll be addressed in your presentation. Furthermore, I'd like to welcome everybody. I think we're already on 34 participants, which is great for a presentation like this. So to show you what the RAPDIF project is about, we would like to show you a short animation film now, which has been made by Fixed Vision. So Shalini, can you show the presentation?
Progress requires research and development. ZonMw, the Netherlands Organisation for Health Research and Development, funds health research and fosters the use of the knowledge developed, helping to improve health and healthcare in the Netherlands and in other countries. One of the studies supported by ZonMw is the RAPDIF study, which focuses on the diagnosis and treatment of infectious diseases that cause fever. Research being conducted in Burkina Faso, one of the poorest countries in the world, established whether the medication available was used appropriately and effectively. Fever is common in children under the age of 5, who are a particularly vulnerable group. They are frequently prescribed antibiotics and anti-malaria medication when they present with a fever, often without an accurate diagnosis. Indiscriminate use of these types of medications can lead to increased antimicrobial resistance. Some microorganisms are as much as 50 to 90% resistant to many of the medicines used. This is an alarming situation, as alternative medicines are not readily available. A test is used to diagnose what is wrong when a patient has a fever. In Burkina Faso, this will often be a malaria test. Even if it is conducted properly and the result is negative, doctors often prescribe both antibiotics and anti-malaria medication with the best of intentions, because these young patients are particularly vulnerable. Health workers do not want to risk ongoing illness or even the death of an untreated child. Social pressure to at least do something is a key factor in this decision. A lack of therapy compliance can also contribute to antimicrobial resistance. Despite community education campaigns in Burkina Faso, patients or parents often stop using the medication earlier than prescribed and save what is left in case another child develops a fever. In other countries in Africa, the level of education is probably lower, so the problem is likely to be even greater. The fact that these medicines are freely available and so are taken or administered wrongly also contributes to antimicrobial resistance. The RAPDIF study was carried out in collaboration with local researchers in Burkina Faso. This was to establish in an area where malaria and other infectious diseases associated with fever are prevalent, how reliable the diagnostic techniques used were, whether the correct medication was prescribed, and what level of resistance there was to these drugs. The study is also relevant to other countries. Pathogens are spread by migration and by holidaymakers. Diseases like malaria might even spread to your country as a result of climate change. By sharing knowledge and experience internationally, we can track and combat the spread of these pathogens. This international approach has been made possible thanks to collaboration with NVO Votro Science for Global Development, which also funds international studies seeking sustainable solutions for health problems in low and middle income countries and elsewhere. Ways of identifying and recognizing the pathogens that cause fever have been established. The RAPDIF study has shown that these pathogens exhibit a high degree of resistance to certain medication. This is to some extent because the medication is wrongly prescribed and used. A new malaria test has been developed, which can also detect mutated malaria parasites, which can cause a false negative result if gone undetected. The test also includes a decision model, which helps the local healthcare professional to prescribe the right medication. One additional benefit of the project has been the opportunity for local researchers to obtain PhDs on the basis of this work. They will continue developing diagnostic tests and researching better diagnostic techniques for other diseases associated with fever at a local healthcare centre. Thanks to RAPDIF, children with fever are now treated more effectively and steps have been taken to prevent any increase in antimicrobial resistance. Dutch researcher Henk, RAPDIF Research Coordinator at the University Medical Center Amsterdam, is to receive a ZonMw Parel for this study.
So that was the short film. It went very fast, but it's just thrilling to see the reach of this project. And well, for now, I would like to give the full floor to Veronique for the next part and the award and of this event. Veronique, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. I'm very happy to give a short speech on before giving the prize, actually. We just saw a fantastic movie with Henk Schallig in a drawn form. You looked very well, Henk, in the movie. So great to have this short information. I'll give you also some brief information on the project, and then tell you why ZonMw is giving you this prize. Brief on the project. So the main part is, the main question was, how can the diagnosis and the treatment of young children with fever be improved in Africa, in Burkina Faso? This was the focus of the RAPDIF project, and it was funded, as was mentioned, by ZonMw and NWO Wotro together. The RAPDIF study, it was performed on the children under 5 with fever in Burkina Faso. The study found that young children with fever are often prescribed both antibiotics, as we saw, and anti-malaria medication, even if the underlying cause of the fever was not very clear. If a child has malaria, then prescribing antibiotics doesn't help very well, and it strengthens antimicrobial resistance. And this is all made worse, bad therapy compliance. So this is really a big issue on both sides, both on the short term, how to treat children well, and on the longer term, how to prevent spreading antimicrobial resistance even further. So researchers in the Netherlands and in Burkina Faso together, they succeeded in developing a new diagnostic malaria test that is no less than 100 times more sensitive than the other tests available. And the test is so powerful because it works on a different principle, I was told, directly measuring the DNA of the malaria parasite, unlike the current rapid tests. The RAPDIF project itself is now finished, but the research will continue with new fundings. And that is good news, I think, for a lot of people and children across the world. And the researchers will test their new way of working in the vaccine in 2021 on some 5,700 children and adults in 5 countries in Africa, being Namibia, Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Burkina Faso. And the test will also be used by the MREF flying doctors in remote areas. So that is also very good news, that it's applicable also in very remote areas. So this is in short on the project as it was run. This is a fantastic project, I say. I read about it and I was really very enthusiastic about it. This is a great project and great success so far. And a project that has already caught international attention by winning in 2017 the Discovery Award for research on antibiotics resistance. You might ask yourself, why then now another award, the ZonMw Award, the Parel Prize? For us, for ZonMw, the Parel stands for highlighting, setting in the sun, an exceptional project, a shining example of the kind of projects that we really are very happy to see in terms of relevance, in terms of cooperation between parties, in terms of usability and impact. And the RAPDIF project does exactly that. So the project is highly relevant by picking up an issue that plays every day in clinics in Africa, in Burkina Faso in this case. So it's highly relevant. There was a very good cooperation between researchers both in the Netherlands and in Burkina Faso. So that worked very well. And it delivered solid results. So this is really, here we see the people who were involved in the project. Next to Henk Schallig, there, the Professor Halidou Tinto, François Kiemde, and Masso Bonko. And I see Halidou Tinto at least here. So also great compliments to you and to your colleagues. Very, very great work delivered. So this cooperation, I think, is also one of the reasons to give this prize. And of course, this is also very important. The results are very usable and of great impact, both directly now in clinics, in treating children with malaria, as well longer terms in avoiding further antimicrobial resistance, which is also a big issue around the world. So congratulations on this excellent work of your team. And we hope by giving the prize to Henk Schallig in this case, but to the whole team, I have no doubts. We hope that this prize furthers the acclaim for this great project. And the Pearl Prize is not a sort of Nobel Prize with a large extra funding attached to it, alas for you maybe, but it's mainly to put you in the spotlights, to give you the applause that really comes your way. And the prize itself consists of a small statue. I have that here. It's on the screen also, and I have it here. I'll give it through the screen in a moment. And besides this Pearl, also the movie we just saw and some other movies and some other material that we can use in spreading the good work in communication. That's also the additional publicity is also part of the prize. So we really hope that giving this prize and giving the attention to it, putting it in spotlights, helps to spread the word across the world about this great project. So deliver the prize to Henk Schallig this way through the screen. And congratulations very much. And I think we all give you a big applause.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you, Veronique, and congratulations to the whole research team and Henk Schallig. It's fantastic that this is happening, and I see that we're already on 50 people participating in this session. So that's also really nice, and I think it's justified for this project to have so many people watching this. Henk, can I give you the floor to say something, give your presentation on behalf of the research group, I guess?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank ZonMw for awarding us the Pearl Prize. We see it as a huge recognition for our work that we have been doing over the last 5 years in this field. I also acknowledge the funding received from ZonMw and also from NWO Votro. Both organizations have always been very supportive to our research, and I think it has been a good contribution to the work we have been doing so far. In particular, of course, I would like to say that I do not receive this award alone. I also see it as a huge recognition for my research team at the Amsterdam University Medical Centers, where we already have been working for a long time in this field of research. And in particular, I would like to mention Sandra Mentink, the head of our laboratory, who has conducted a lot of research in the field of bacterial diseases. And I would also like to acknowledge Dr. Petra Mens, who is leading our malaria research. And they too form the pillars under our febrile diseases research portfolio. Of course, this work could not have been done in solitude, and the success, I think, is can be much contributed to the fact that we have a long-standing collaboration with the clinical research unit in Nanoro. Please, the next slide. And I would sincerely thank Professor Halidou Tinto, the director of the clinical research in Nanoro, for the fantastic collaboration we had over the last 15 years. Dr. Tinto more or less built himself a research facility in Nanoro, which is a rural village around 80 kilometers north of Ouagadougou, the capital city of Burkina Faso. And he built this research unit from virtually nothing to one of the most excellent and well-equipped research facilities in West Africa to perform microbiology research, and in particular malaria research. Our collaboration has been very successful so far. For the RAPDIF project, we have currently about 8 joint publications with 4 more pending. But as we also did a lot of malaria research together, we have over 20 joint malaria publications, and we still have several ongoing research projects in Manoro going on. And having access to such an excellent site also has provided ample opportunities for Dutch MSc and PhD students to gain research experience in Burkina Faso, really in an endemic region where you see malaria and other febrile diseases being very prevalent. So again, I would like to thank Professor Tinto for all the support he has given to our research. In particular today, next slide please, I would like to acknowledge Massa Bongo and François Kiemda, the two PhD students who have been working already for a long time with us on this project, also on the RAPDIF project. At the left-hand side, you can see both of them working in the microbiology lab of CRUN. And both of them have been able to perform their PhD studies in the field of microbiology in Amsterdam UMC. François Kiemde graduated last year. And the good thing is that now he will, under the leadership of Professor Tinto, develop a satellite research site close by Nanoro to further expand the research capacity in Burkina Faso. Masabongo is due to receive his PhD next year. He has been working mainly on antimicrobial microbiotic resistance, and he will certainly be also retained by the CRUN to further develop his research career. The story doesn't end here, because infectious diseases and antimicrobial resistance are very good friends, and together they travel around the world happily, not hindered by any borders. And like the current pandemic is showing, infectious diseases can also, in the end of the day, end on our doorstep. Still, I would like to emphasize that although we are facing a huge COVID-19 pandemic worldwide, this is something that the African countries have been facing for many, many years already. And the huge impact infectious diseases have on economic development and health in those countries is a magnitude bigger than what we see now in our settings. And I really would call that in future there will be more attention also for these types of diseases, in particular for low and middle income countries. We will continue our work together with CRUN. Next slide, please. And one of the first things that we are currently doing, together with the funding from the European Developing Countries Clinical Trial Partnership, is to try out one of our diagnostic platforms that we have recently developed. This is a platform at the moment just for malaria, which is much more simple than a conventional molecular biology test. Here, we do not use complex DNA extraction methods, but we simply use blood collected in a tube with stabilized reagents. We do a simple amplification of the DNA in simple equipment, which is operated by a battery and solar power. And we have a simple readout system that allows us probably to do the whole procedure near patient and with a much higher sensitivity and specificity than we have been able to achieve with common rapid diagnostic tests. And I'm much looking forward to further collaboration with CRUN and also our other partners within this project in the near future. Next slide, please. Also, the CRUN Amsterdam UMC collaboration continues outside this. Of course, a highlight will be next year the PhD of Massa Bongo, and we will further work on the development of new antimicrobial treatment guidelines. We also work further towards the development and implementation of new diagnostic algorithms for febrile diseases, and we are working together on the implementation of several EDCTP-funded projects. And also, we have now, together with partners in the Gambia, a COVID-19 study going on in Burkina Faso and the Gambia. So I think the future for our joint research looks bright. And by that, next slide, I would again like to thank Amsterdam UMC, CRUN, ZonMw, NWO Wotro, and the Future of Africa for their support and for awarding me this very nice Pearl Prize. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Henk. It would be really nice if everybody would, if you could show the Parel Prize, and yeah, and then everybody could clap for the screenshot, and it's really, really perfect. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you all very much. Much appreciated.
So I guess we have some time left for some questions. If there are any people that have questions, you can raise your hand in the Zoom, or you can just make yourself known.
And I have a question for maybe the whole team, and also specifically for Henk and for Halidou Tinto. We've just saw the success of the project. I'm really also interested in the difficulties. What difficulties did you come across during the project that you had to overwin, and how did you go about that? So also, in what kind of lessons can we learn from the success that you have in overcoming the difficulties?
Yes, well, of course, when you set out with a certain research program, you always have a nice timeline, and you think, okay, we can achieve this, we can achieve that. But that is not always possible. For example, we would like to have developed also a test that could identify certain bacterial species. But in the end of the day, that proved to be much more difficult than we were first anticipating. And then you have to be stubborn. You have to continue. You have to go on. That was, for example, a thing Francois really was fighting against together with Sandra. That it was difficult, and then you have to find alternative ways. So you have to be creative and to see what is possible in your setting to do. And don't let it put you off. Just go on.
Maybe from the side of Halidou Tinto, maybe you have something. I would also be very interested in hearing from you.
Okay, thank you very much. If you allow me, I would like really, first of all, to thank the ZonMw, I don't know if I pronounce very well, for this award. And this is not only an award to recognize the work, but beyond that, we should all recognize that beyond generating data for antibiotic resistance and the test, this RAPDIF project has made a great contribution in terms of capacity building in our sites. It's important to point out that before this RAPDIF support, we did not have any capacity in terms of test development. We do not have sufficient capacity in terms of antibiotic resistance. But at the end of the day, and thanks to this RAPDIF project, now we were able to build such capacity in Burkina Faso, which is very, very good, not only for our institute, but also for the country, Burkina Faso. So to come back on the difficulties, I think Henk has pointed out the main problem, which was the expectation to develop a combined test where we can diagnose both malaria and bacterial infections all together in a single test. And this was not very easy, as he said, because for some particular bacteria, we were not able to do that. But so we are still working on that, and we hope that in the future we'll be able to develop such a test. In terms of language, as you may know, Burkina Faso is a French-speaking country. So at the beginning, it was not very easy for our young people, particularly our PhD students, when they came on board on this project to do this PhD in Netherlands, to really be performant in terms of language. But thanks to the support given by Henk, because he registered all of them in English courses, now they are all, I can say, fluent in English. They can make presentation, they can write papers, and I'm happy to tell you that Francois was able to get a grant with EDCTP. So he was able to write a proposal and get a small grant of 150,000 euro to conduct a project locally. So that is what I want to say. And thanks, and say again thanks to Henk and his team and the organization for the support given to our institute. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, you're very welcome. I'm sorry, our French is not so good, so we chose English. Oh, even though I am born in Belgium, so I should be speaking French, but I never managed to to learn it really well. But thank you for your contribution as well. And yeah, it's fantastic. Again, it's a really, really nice project. And I must say, I'm pretty surprised by this event, how good it works actually, because it's really nice that we're all here together with this, you know, with all the people sharing in this special moment for you as a project group. So I'm very happy with that. And I'm very happy that we record it. So you can see it and you can share it as well with the people as well in Amsterdam, but especially also in Burkina Faso, in maybe educating and capacity building for other students. So how far it reaches if you collaborate and
I think it's also important to mention that throughout this RAPDIF project was modest. If you look at the number of papers we were able to generate, we will generate in total 12 papers because 8 were already published, and we are 4 papers in the pipeline. And also the Discovery Prize were able to be awarded to, and if you look at also the capacity building, not only the 2 PhD students but also master students, local master students were trained through this RAPDIF project. So I think this is a very successful project if you look at the amount of money we receive against all the outcome of the project. Thank you.
Super, super. Well, that gives me also the opportunity now that because of the Antibiotic Awareness Week or Antimicrobial Awareness Week, the JPI AMR has pre-announced a new call. So it might be worth looking into that maybe you can, you know, get a consortium together with with that to proceed with your fantastic work. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Super. So are there any other questions? I see one hand. Merlijn, you have a question? You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. First, of course, congratulations to Henk and his team. My English is not so well, but Henk, can you tell us what is the origin of the RAPDIF project, and why Burkina Faso, and how did you start the project? What was the beginning of it?
Oh, the beginning, that's really a very long story. But once we set out to develop a malaria project for the European Union, and I was in contact with Umberto Alessandro from the Institute of Tropical Medicine in Antwerp, and he had both Petra Mens as well as Halido Tinto under his guidance. And so we came together and we worked out this project. And from that moment on, we have started to work together as AMC, also with the group of Halido Tinto. And gradually over the years, we have further built this relationship. And we had mutual interest in malaria and later on in undifferentiated fevers. And in particular, it's important to work on those undifferentiated fevers because in the past, we had this paradigm that fever was always seen as malaria in Africa. And nowadays, we know that it's not the case. And because you have this this good malaria diagnostic test, we see that, okay, part of the children are being diagnosed with having malaria, but what is there else going on? And from that point, we were interested of working together to find out what other febrile diseases are there, how should these be managed, how should these be diagnosed. And that really gave birth to the RAPDIF project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So are there any other questions or comments, or? I don't see any hands.
Chrétien has a question or a comment.
Yes.
Yes, hello. I'm a science writer and I interviewed Henk Schallig before earlier this year. And I wanted to ask him, could you elaborate a little bit about the bigger picture, the helicopter view, because this is research that's of course very beneficial for the people in countries like Burkina Faso and many other countries there. But also the whole antibiotic resistance is of course a problem that's global problem. So what are the benefits internationally for example, countries like the Netherlands or Europe? Could you perhaps convince us a bit why it's important that we fund these kind of research?
Yes, what I said before is that infectious diseases and resistance, they are not isolated things. They are everywhere. They will also reach our homes. So it is important to do this type of research and to learn that it is very important to do correct diagnosis. And also it is important to learn that antimicrobial resistance is on the rise and that we are currently losing some of those very valuable medications, and that we need to be careful not to end up with untreatable diseases due to resistance. And I think that is also a thing that we have learned from Burkina Faso. We always thought, okay, those guidelines and those medications that are in place, they are good, but we have now found out that in some cases 50 to 90% of the infectious strains are resistant to commonly used antibiotics. And that is really a worrying situation. And we really have to contain antimicrobial resistance worldwide.
Yes. Yes, that is. This is also something that we as ZonMw embrace, of course, and this is why we have this program on antimicrobial resistance, which funds national but also international calls. We participate in the JPI AMR, and as we said before, or as I said before, we can consider, I think, antimicrobial resistance as a slumbering pandemic. And especially now with the COVID, where we see there's much urgency. I hope that we can keep the urgency for antimicrobial resistance as well. So yeah, hence an important project. So keep up the good work, and we'll try to keep up the program and try keep funding good work. Any other questions? I think we have come more or less to an end, unless there's one very, I don't see hands, I don't see shouts. No? Well, thank you. We will share items on this award and the project soon after the session. It will be available on social media channels, on our website, in newsletters, and you are very welcome all to share that. Please remember to use the hashtag RAPDIF, ZonMw, hashtag ZonMw, or hashtag NWOVOTRO in where applicable, of course. And well, with this, we come to an end of this session. Thank you all for your presence, and good work, everybody, and stay healthy all, and goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And congratulations again.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.